Hi, this is Eugene and Andrea again, creators of the Power Couples Interactive Course. And so we're coming to you guys going to share about FOG,
Fog.
feelings overriding the good.
Now that's our little acronym we came up with.
Yes.
Feelings overriding the good. Because often when fog is there, fog covers, and if you imagine driving down the street, if you see fog, you might have to drive a little slower.
Put the high beams on.
Well, no, not the high beams, because it reflects off the water particles.
Yeah, but they do design fog lights
Okay,
for under
those
the
fog
car.
lights are not the same for under the car, but high beams just make you blind.
Right, true, but they do have fog lights so that...
Okay, fog lights. It's not the same as high beams. Anyway.
Yeah, high beams will blind you.
Thank you.
But they do
I'm
have
not
fog
crazy.
lights.
Yes, they do have fog light under the car, which is not the same as coming. Okay. That's what you said?
Right. Well, lower lights.
Okay, so imagine that we're not going to use high beams, but we might use fog lights.
Yes.
And when we're trying to drive, what kind of caution, just imagine what kind of caution that you encounter when you're like, I want to make sure that I don't hit anything. I don't know if you've ever been in fog that was so thick that you couldn't even see the car that was coming ahead. It's just really something. And so those feelings, when they override the good, is the same kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not thinking about, it gets hazy. Some people actually feel like, oh, it just got hazy and I didn't know what went on.
Right.
Those feelings. And sometimes, often, and more specifically, we're talking about the negative feelings, but you also need to be concerned about just any emotion that takes you out of a place of being able to think about something rational.
That's a real good point that you're making because, just acknowledging that you have the fog is such a big thing. Because I know for myself, not using any type of storylines, but actually in real situations, I can have a fog or I can have something that actually gets in my way. And I'm so focused on what I'm doing that a fog or, we're talking about these feelings of emotions coming in the way, and I'm driving, just driving down the street and I'm barreling, still doing
as if
80,
there's nothing
90
going
miles
on.
an hour and, just still in my
80 or
zone.
90? 80 or 90?
Okay, 55, 70.
Okay, anyway. So
well, I'm talking about on the highway.
80 or 90?
Okay.
Lawlessness.
That's okay.
Anyway, so so the point is this, that when you're thinking about making decisions or interacting with someone you love,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a lot of fog, you have to be so careful. And one of the biggest things is to be able to take personal responsibility
Yes.
for what that is. So and we'll make all of this available to you, but I want to make sure. So feelings overriding the good. You got to watch out for fog, just like you would if you were driving.
Yes.
You have to watch out for it. So often in very intense situations, there can be a lot of fog that prevents individuals from seeing another person's perspective. Okay? Similar to the fog that can be observed at dusk or dawn, because usually that's when you see it, like right as the sun is about to rise or right as it's about to set, right?
Yeah. Or a shift and change
Or
in
shift,
weather.
yeah, shifts or change in the weather.
Mm-hmm.
You have to maneuver through the emotional fog with great caution.
And I like what you were saying as far as the personal responsibility. Because
let me finish this. I want to say this last part of the sentence, because this is going to lead into what you're saying.
Okay.
You have to maneuver through emotional fog with great caution.
Right.
Or else there can be a collision. And crashing.
Right.
And so you were saying personal responsibility.
Yes, I was. It's important that, as you're approaching these particular situations, these foggy situations, that you actually self-analyze. You were saying that earlier.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we get into foggy situations, sometimes it's easy if we're not skilled, whether it's drivers or skilled in our relationships, we take the focus off ourselves and we began pointing the finger like, man, he should have moved out of my way because I was going 80 miles an hour.
Wow. I think you having some deliverance and revelation over here.
So
alrighty.
We need to take a look, looking at ourselves, like I was saying, it's just easy to launch out and begin to critique and criticize other drivers, other people.
Without the self-reflection first.
Exactly.
To take
Taking
personal
the personal
responsibility.
Because, again, when we talk about mutual respect and talking about having a high regard, as a human, that high regard starts with yourself.
That's right. Respecting yourself enough to know when you need a timeout.
Yes.
Do you need a timeout? Do you need to go and take a minute? Is this going to allow you to communicate at your best level, at your most excellent place? And if not, even though you might feel like you deserve to get this off your chest, understand that you are setting things up for a collision. And in our relationships, we can't act as if what we say and do can't cause collisions. We have to. It has to matter to us.
It does.
It has to matter.
And another thing which will come out in further lessons is that when you do, and I don't want to bleed too much over into another lesson, but when you take control. By taking personal responsibility, a backset or offset from that particular action you already begin to diffuse the situation because you're coming at it from a self-introspective type of way.
Can I say it this way? Because my next statement was, a better solution is to allow the fog to dissipate before trying to move further into a conversation.
Nice.
And that is basically what he said. Sometimes we make the situation better by just taking the personal responsibility.
And slowing down.
That worked out good for you.
Like if you slow down, the car is designed to have brake lights, right?
Yeah.
In the rear of the car. So if you slow down, those very shiny red lights would actually brighten to a certain wavelength. So,
you're enjoying this way more than you should.
So that the people behind you can actually see that you're there and you don't ram into the back of them.
You aren't saying it.
Man, this is some good teaching.
Oh my gosh. Ugh. That is so true, though. When we are in fog and we're not mindful of being a defensive driver, and that's basically all we're saying here as we're driving through foggy places. To be a defensive driver, it's not just about you getting to where you want to go.
Nice.
At 80 or 90 miles per hour.
Yes.
It is also about those who are following who can't see you.
Exactly.
And those red lights are caution lights.
Not even can't see you, but can't interpret where you're going. We got to watch out for those mind readers,
See, there you go.
Just throwing that in there.
And just throwing stuff out there. Okay, so fog clouds your vision and prevents you from seeing the big picture. And in our relationships, we need to be okay seeing the big picture and wanting. Some of us, I'll be honest, like sometimes we get to a place where it's like, I don't even want to see the big picture no more. I'm just tired of being done like this or whatever. Right. Look, if you want your relationship to be powerful and you want it to be optimal, you're going to need to check your feelings and any kind of, it's a D word, I'm losing it. I lost it. Any kind of, I'll find the word. It was right there and then it got stuck. Right. But you're going to have to want the best. You're going to have to crave the best that you guys can be. And I know that sometimes in relationships, when we are very close, it is easy to feel like someone deserves something. They get what they get. They've done this to me. Honestly, you need to decide what you want your relationship to be like, because a relationship built on that, or that is built well and then an offense comes and it's not dealt with, it is going to weaken everything else you try to build. So at the core of it, you gotta want this to work.
More than you want to get
right.
back or to be right, right? Because those feelings, that fog is real.
It's real, and I'm not even throwing judgment or shade on it. I'm saying be honest with yourself. Do you really want this thing to work? And if you do, then it's really time for some self-reflection and personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility.